Countdown to Free Comic Book Day. It's Wednesday. What is today? April.
Yeah, this is why I do the intros. This is the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show! Today is April 30th, which, if your clocks are set the way mine is set, it means we are 72 hours from Free Comic Book Day. Is it blowing your mind? It's blowing my mind. It's going to be amazing. So, because of that, and as I promised last week, this week we are going to bring you a special sneak preview of some of the Free Comic Book Days books that I'm most excited for. But before we get to that, we are still going to do our regular top 5 picks because despite it being a 5th week, and usually 5th weeks there's very little that comes out in the way of good books or new books or anything like that. This week was a huge exception to that because there were tons of books. Like every single Avengers comic in the world came out this week, including Avengers World. You like what I did there? There was also a couple of new DC #1s and some other exciting stuff that came out on that front. But we'll all get to that in the top 5. So, runners-up, notables, and noodles. What do you got for me?
Curse of the White Lantern.
Dun, dun, dun. It is the Green Lantern New Guardians Annual Issue #2. Many of you are probably wondering why on earth I would possibly care about that book. I know that Jeff Johns is gone and the Green Lantern universe has taken a hit. However, I was very excited for this book when I read it in previews, and I'm still very excited for it after having read it, because if you are like me and you grew up with Kyle Rayner as your Green Lantern, then this book is going to bring you back to those roots that made you originally like him as a Green Lantern, pre-Dog Collar days. And then also, it's going to get into the Black Lanterns, again, are making an appearance. Well, one of them is making an appearance, and that was really cool. So you should be excited for Green Lantern New Guardians Annual. It's a really cool story. And the second book on our notable list...
Why does the fastest man alive want to kill?
Yes, it is The Flash. Annual issue #3. It's the 3rd annual that they've come out with. I can't believe it's been 3 years since the New 52 started. It blows my mind. Almost 3 years. We're in the 3rd year. So, we talked a little bit last week about Wally West returning to the New 52 universe. And this annual answers quite a few of those questions that may have raised your eyebrows from that issue. I believe it was Flash #30.
We'll be able to unraise our eyebrows?
You will be able to unraise your eyebrows. They'll go back down and they'll go, why is the Flash killing people? And why does Gorilla Grodd have the Speed Force? The reverse Speed Force. And also, why is Wally West
smart.
Not the Wally West I remember? But it was really cool. The last one I want to talk about on the notables, this one I really, really liked.
It was pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome. It's called Sanitarium. Also a movie. But we're talking about the comic book. Turns out the title of this particular chapter of the series is called Monsters Are Real. So it turns out the whole time everybody's thinking it's his dad or something causing him all this great stress. There's like this crazy monster that's in his head, and you
don't know
wondering
if
it's in his head or if the kid's doing all this crazy stuff.
But how could the kid really do it
I don't
without
know.
I
don't know.
Yeah, see, it's...
We're going to have to read more and find out. That's what I like so much about that book. It's like that classic horror movie that makes you think about it weeks after you've seen it. So that's it for the notables and the noodles. It is time for the top 5 picks. Also the what?
I said Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Really think about it afterwards.
Yeah, wondering what they're saying. Because it's a silent movie. Get it?
Top 5!
Top 5!
Coming in at #5.
Coming in at #5 is probably the highlight of the week in terms of like media hype and all of that, and well deserved because it is the Amazing Spider-Man #1. Peter Parker finally actually back like in his own book. All of the Superior Spider-Man stuff is in his past, or is it? That is the real question of this issue. Also, what I liked about it is there were 4 short stories that supplemented the issue. So you have the regular issue of Amazing Spider-Man #1, which focuses on Peter Parker returning to like a day in the life of Peter Parker Spider-Man. And then you get all these other issues. One of them deals with Electro, one of them deals with Spider-Man 2099, one of them deals with like the Future Foundation Spider-Man. So you get a nice big variety of Spider-Man books, which, yeah, I mean, look at that thing, it's a monster.
And if you missed it, Inhuman #1.
Also, yeah, Inhuman #1 is in it, which is like this awesome, amazing
Medusa,
Marvel
right?
event that's going on right now that everybody should be reading. And bam, there you go. Not only do you get your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, you also get your not-so-friendly neighborhood Inhuman. Number 4, we have Forever Evil Aftermath, Batman vs. Bane. I know what you're thinking. Forever Evil Aftermath? But wait, Forever Evil isn't over yet. It's okay. We all know how it's going to end because they already spoiled it for us. Actually, I have no idea how it's going to end. However, I do know that Batman returns to Gotham City to find it completely taken over by Bane, who is now King Bane of Gotham City. Which was cool. I really liked it because it's a nice cross between classic comic book Bane and Batman the Dark Knight Rises Bane, who has this sort of weird moral code about him. First scene, you have a bunch of, like, I don't know, thugs that are trying to sell bottled water and stuff to all these citizens of Gotham for like 80 bucks a bottle, and one of them's like 3 Rolexes and my wife, and it's just going crazy. And Bane
And my wife.
I'm serious.
I'd buy that for $1.
The wife or the book? Because it's actually $3.99.
Terminator.
I don't know how much the wife is.
Splatterpunk.
Man on
anyway, TV? No.
Moving back to the comics. Back to this world over here. And Bane shows up and like kills all the thugs and then gives all the stuff away for free.
The water? He's like water Batman?
Yeah, he's like a good guy, but at the same time, you know, still Bane and
Aquaman?
still a bad guy. No, I wouldn't call him Aquaman. I'd call him
Bane. But he gave away the water.
Bane of Bats.
Oh, you want this one?
I do want the next one. Coming in at number 3, it is Vertigo Quarterly number 1. This is a really cool thing that Vertigo's doing. It's 4 issues that are coming out throughout the year.
Oh, is that a quarterly?
Yes, that is a quarterly.
Thanks.
Each issue is going to have a different theme and a different color that all the short stories in it are based off of. So some of the works that we get to see in this book were... They were Smart by Tony Atkins. There was a story by Ken Gehring, who a lot of you might remember from Planetoid. And if you haven't read Planetoid, you should totally read it because it's a wonderful graphic novel.
The Day Tripper author, right?
Yeah, Amy Chu has a book in here. Fabio Moon did the last story in here, which was really cool. Fabio Moon's was probably my favorite, but the first one was really cool. It's all about these 2 kids that end up taking over mortuary, but in order to drive up business, they decide that they're going to like start killing people.
But only old people.
But only old people that are like on their deathbed, they're going to like frame their deaths. But the girl always wanted to be a famous artist, so she kind of goes crazy and starts coming with all these like elaborate ways to kill people and body paintings, and yeah, the whole thing gets a little bizarre from there.
Just from there.
Just, yeah.
That's not the weird part.
That was just like the first page. It gets weirder from there.
Alright.
Alright, issue number 2. And
no, issue number 1.
Oh yeah, at number 2, issue number 1. Crazy numbers day.
Rebellious numbers.
Those pesky numbers. We'll bend them to our will. They'll join the dark side yet. Star Wars Rebel Heist, issue number 1. This one is the new Matt Kint Star Wars mini-series. I believe it's only 4 issues. It's really cool. So it's about this guy who... It takes place after the Battle of Yavin, so after Return of the Jedi. It's about this guy who signs up with the Rebellion.
Han Solo?
No, it's not about Han Solo.
Well, why is he on the cover? That is clearly Han Solo.
Can we get to that point in a minute? I'm
just
about to get there.
Is the Millennium Falcon in it?
Like 2 seconds away. No, the Millennium Falcon isn't it.
Why?
But they make a lot of jokes about it. So anyway.
Chewbacca?
They also make a lot of jokes about him too.
I can't make a Chewbacca noise.
It's the worst
That's the
Chewbacca noise ever. But I love it because the whole story, you can definitely tell that Matt Kint is just a ginormous Star Wars fan, because everything's told like you see this guy who's just like average Joe on the street meeting all of these super famous Star Wars characters and is just in complete awe of them, and then ends up realizing that Han Solo really is just a scruffy looking nerf herder. No, not yet.
Admiral Akbar?
Jabba the Hutt's dead.
Well, people can always come back. He's
not in
really
Star Wars. They don't
like
really do
gelatinous.
that. Unless you're Boba Fett. Anyway, we are moving on to number 1. From one of my favorite writers and Image Comics, one of my favorite companies, we have Jason Aaron's Southern Bastards number 1. And I'm really excited because now I get to say Southern Bastards a lot. The plot synopsis for Southern Bastards.
Earl returns.
Please. Yes, Earl.
Home. He comes home.
Yeah. So this old guy named Earl, who grew up in this small town.
He doesn't live there anymore.
Does not live there anymore. He moved away to the big city after his dad was killed. Comes home because his uncle is now in a nursing home and needs to pack up his uncle's belongings from his house. He's in town for probably an afternoon before he ends up getting wrapped up in all kinds of really shady and skeezy southern things. But much like Jason Aaron did with Scalped, he does a really good job of taking the factual side of things and mixing them with a great fictional side of things to give you this whole new look and perspective. If you are a fan of Justified, you definitely need to read Southern Bastards. If you are a fan of Sweet Tooth, Scalped, DMZ, Preacher, anything like that, Southern Bastards is completely up your alley.
Up your alley. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, is that what you were going to say?
Up in a tree like the boas in the Everglades.
Somehow we managed to make it through the Maxx's top 5 picks, and we are all still alive. Yay. And now it is time for Free Comic Book Day books! Yeah. Just hand them over.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to give them to you in the order that I choose.
Okay. So coming in at whatever the off-camera voice
are they really
wants.
This one?
Anyway.
Excellent choice if you're bringing your kids to Free Comic Book Day.
Can I tell them what it is and then you can give your synopsis for it?
No, that wasn't a synopsis. I was just saying, if you're bringing your kids, that's one for them to get.
Yes, Free Comic Book Day is a great family event because you get to bring your kids to the comic book store and they get 3 free comics down here at Astro-Zombies, so you don't actually have to spend a dime on anything. For them, they don't know that, and then you can do all kinds of shopping for the sales for yourself. It's really, really a great scheme there. But the first book on our list is the Top Shelf Kids Club book. Top Shelf you can always count on for great stories and great art. I love it.
I'm sure. This one's really cool. There's 2 stories.
And the first one is about?
Little girl, her parents were turned into rats by the Thimble Witch. And
parents into rats, Thimble Witch?
She's
you with me so far?
Looking for the Thimble Witch because she wants to turn her parents back into normals.
That makes sense.
But they live in the pantry.
And then the second one's about a dragon.
A monster. These towns have monsters, and I think by how crazy your monster is, your town is that much more legitimate. And there's a family who I think has a really unimpressive monster in their town, and that's kind of what I think we're going to get to know all the monsters of the towns.
I love Top Shelf.
And it's going to be awesome. Well, you just love monsters.
I do. Who doesn't like monsters?
This was excellent. Extra wordy.
Volume 1 of the Hip Hop Family Tree is in stores now. This is a sneak peek at Volume 2, and really what it is it is a history of hip hop told in comic book form. It's really cool. Really cool. Very
it has an
genius
excellent
idea.
look to it too.
Yeah. No, the art is
It looks like a vintage book. Like if you found one now, like the pages look yellowed because they're telling the history. It's really awesome.
And I'm wondering, I'm curious, like as they move farther along,
if it's going to transition to cleaner, like present. That would be brilliant.
Or worse, because it's present rap.
Well, the 90s.
Degrading.
Is everyone going to be extra buff?
Up next on the list, we have Rocky Raccoon. Well, Rocky Raccoon is an awesome member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Really likes to blow stuff up. He will be getting...
Really mouthy.
Really mouthy. He will be getting his own series written and illustrated by Scotty Young, which is really exciting.
Either way, Rocky Raccoon, busting a princess out of jail. Not quite what he thinks.
Oh. I hate it when that happens. You're like, I rescued the damsel! And then it's like...
Or does the damsel rescue him?
Right. Anyway.
Pick it up for free!
Right? The best part is they're all free.
They're all free.
Ah, yes! I love this one. It's Transformers vs. G.I. Joe from IDW. I love the art in this book. It's super wacky and old school looking. Also, you get the Great American Hero and the Transformers teaming up to fight Cobra and the evil Transformers. What more could you possibly want from a free comic? I'm hoping that this is going to become, in July 2014, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe ongoing series. So check that one out.
One of the big ones?
Yes, there's 2 big ones, real big ones, and then there's a third one that's just awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the first of the really big ones, Guardians of the Galaxy. The movie, super stoked for it. This is going to give you a nice introduction to all the characters. It's also going to explain why Venom, Agent Venom, is suddenly a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, because that really threw me for a loop when I saw that. And bonus feature as well, at the back, it's got a sneak preview of Thanos, the Infinity Revelation, which looks like it's going to be a really sweet blockbuster summer event for Thanos.
You know it was a sweet Free Comic Book Day blockbuster in my mind?
Yeah, a hardcover for free? Come on, get out of here. Mouse Guard, Labyrinth, and Other Stories hardcover.
I think there are like 7 stories in there.
Was it 7? Did you count them all?
There's a lot. There's Labyrinth.
There's a lot going on in these.
There's a Will-o-the-Wisps, Rust. Of course, the Mouse Guard story, which is very charming.
Arcana did this last year as well. They released a mouse cover hardcover. Super limited though, so if you want one of these, they will be free. We will be giving them out for free. Definitely get down to your stores early though, because I can only imagine what
everybody's gonna want this book. Look at it. Like, when you don't want to read about brutal slaughter.
Oh, speaking of brutal slaughter, we must be talking about DC's Future End Zero issue. This will be the second DC weekly book that will be coming out. And so Free Comic Book Day took the opportunity to just get you started with a Zero issue, where we see everybody die. It's wonderful. A few things we need to know about Future's End going into it. One, it is the return of the Maxx satellite to the DC Universe. Two, it is Terry McGinnis, also known as Batman Beyond. He will be joining the main DC Universe. For so long, he's only existed as sort of like this other universe Batman that's been going on in the Batman Beyond universe. So he is traveling back in time to try and stop the end of the world.
Which has a curious origin.
Yes.
The creator of this end.
Yes.
You're like, oh, what?
What? Yeah, no, if you're familiar with the old DC Universe and the old Maxx satellite, you know who created it. If you don't know and you're like, what? Then obviously this book is going to blow your mind. But for old fans as well, it's reimagined in just a brilliant way. So definitely Future's End, hands down the book that I'm most excited for Comic Book Day. So
it was brutal.
Yeah. And that's like the coolest thing about Free Comic Book Day is you get a free sneak preview with all the awesome stuff that's been going on or will be going on from your major comic book companies as the year progresses. Well, we did it. We just went through like 20-some books. I don't know. 20 is a number that's coming up a lot today, though. So stay tuned from the Cutaway, and we will get back with a couple graphic novels.
Cutaway! Time for Cutaway!
Coffee time. Welcome back from the Cutaway. We are here to talk about graphic novels. I got 3 of them for you this week that I definitely want you to keep your eyes on. The first one, it's not new, but it's a new printing. It's Superman Batman. It's the world's finest team-up. This is going to be by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. One of my favorite Batman Superman stories of all time is in here, and it is the new origins for Supergirl. So, because back in the like 80s and early 90s, they just had this really weird Supergirl ectoplasma thing going on. If you've read The Death of Superman, you know what I'm talking about. This brings her actually as a character, develops her, gives her like a purpose and a drive and a sense. This is also the series that the Superman, or the Batman Superman Apocalypse movie was made out of. So very cool stuff in there. I love that DC's collecting all of their old stuff again in these just amazing giant paperbacks. Second book, really excited that this is out. It is Pretty Deadly. We reviewed the first issue of this on one of our earlier episodes for the show, so I won't go too much into detail about it. But it's basically the story of like Death's daughter, but it reads like this crazy Japanese myth with all of this wonderful imagery and just gorgeous artwork. So definitely check that one out. And it is an Image #1, so I believe it is. Yes, $9.99. It's listed under the Western Fantasy category. And at #1, we have from the Eisner Award-winning author and best-selling author of Darth Vader and Son and Vader's Little Princess, and a good friend of Astro-Zombies, we have Kids Are Weird by Jeffrey Brown. This, a lot of Jeffrey Brown stuff. I mean, he's a dad. A lot of his stuff's about his kids. It's about raising his kids. Darth Vader and Son was obviously about raising kids. Darth Vader's Little Princess was obviously about raising kids. This one's about raising, like, real kids, not Luke and Leia Skywalker. And you can't go through a page of this book without smiling and laughing, because you do realize that kids are absolutely weird, and they say some really weird things that really get taken out of context. So, fantastic little hardcover there. It's great to see another book out from Jeffrey Brown. One of the coolest guys in the industry, and one of the funniest as well. So, that is our graphic novel review, and we will be right back with words of the show. Well, believe it or not, that is going to wind it down for this episode of the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show. However, I want to leave you with a few things to nibble on for your week. First off, it's the last week of the month, so there's a new previews catalog out, and some really cool, exciting stuff going on in there. We'll probably talk more about it next week after I get a chance to digest that massive magazine. Other things. Be sure to check into the Astro-Zombies YouTube channel this weekend, as we are going to be posting up some footage of Free Comic Book Day, which should lead to some entertainment and amusement, and might be a little crazy.
Huntress and Batgirl over here look like they got hella beef.
They do, actually. Well, Huntress and Batgirl are not friendly.
Right here, they look like they got hella beef.
Okay.
Well, that's because Huntress is a badass.
Apparently it's no longer my words of the show.
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
random commentary
I
time.
thought you were done.
Who's Huntress?
We are done now. So until next week, stay frosty.
Huntress is this purple.